to paradise, where everything is nice. You take me to very, 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 very paradise. Take me to paradise, where everything is nice. You take me to very, 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 very paradise.
Welcome to Stitch and Stillness. Here in Emz Universe, where we learn to crochet slowly, creatively, and one stitch at a time. If you enjoy slow learning and intentional creativity, make sure to subscribe and join the community. Hey, my beautiful people. Welcome back to Stitch and Stillness. It is officially episode 6. And in this lesson, we are going to be learning how to join a new ball of yarn and change colors in a project. So to begin, joining new yarn. It's inevitable. When you're crocheting, there's going to come a moment in time when your yarn is going to run out and you are going to need to introduce a new strand of yarn in order to continue crocheting. Now, there are different ways that you can join yarn, but a simple beginner method is to just crochet over the yarn tail so it becomes secure within the stitches. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So I have got 2 balls of yarn, both from Wool and the Gang, Big Love Cotton, one of my favorites. And now, usually you would be working with the same color yarn, but for the sake of this demonstration, just to make it easier for you to identify exactly what it is that I'm doing, I'm going to use 2 different colors. So I'm going to start with the green yarn, and I'm going to start by just crocheting a row of stitches. So to begin, I'm going to create a slip knot. And I'm just going to use my hook to pull this yarn through, and then I am going to close that up. Let's just close that to make it tighter. And then I am going to chain 6. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that I've created my 6 chains, I am going to create a row of stitches. And for this particular row, I'm going to do a row of half double stitches. I have been taught in US terminology. So when I refer to my stitches, I will be using US terminology, but I will put the UK terminology on the screen just so that you know exactly which stitches I'm referring to. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to place my hook in the first stitch. So we're going to turn the work on its side, and I'm going to push my crochet hook through the stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop until you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, and then pull up all 3. And I'm just going to repeat that until I get to the end of the row. So yarn over, pull through all 3, and I'm going to continue to repeat this. Now I did upload in the previous episode core stitches, so if you haven't already checked out that video, do go and have a look, as I do teach you all the basics of how to create core stitches. And now that we are at the end of the row, we are going to yarn over and pull up all 3 stitches. Now that we're at the end of the row, we have noticed that our yarn has finished. For the sake of this video demonstration, I am just going to snip this yarn here. So now that we've gotten to the end of the row and our yarn has run out, we are going to need to introduce a new yarn. So the first method that I'm going to teach you is introducing a new yarn using the knot method. So here's the new yarn. What you are going to do is you are going to take the tail end from the previous working yarn and the tail end from the new working yarn, and you are just going to knot them together. You don't need to use a fancy knot or a complicated knot, you are just going to tie them together using whichever knot you prefer. We just want to make sure that the yarn is secure. Now this is going to be a bit fiddly for me because your girl got nails on, so bear with. But once you've knotted the two tail ends together, you're going to have something that looks like this. Now that we've connected the two yarn ends, we are going to yarn over and chain one, and then we are going to turn our work to begin a new row. Now, it is going to become a bit clunky because you're going to have lots of tail ends all over the place. But what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, and before you place your crochet hook in the first stitch, you're going to want to grab those tail ends and make sure that you bring them forward like so. And you are then going to place your crochet hook in the first stitch. So we're going to push our crochet hook through the first stitch. The tail ends, you want to make sure that they are sitting on top of your crochet hook, as that will ensure that we crochet over them. You're then going to yarn over, pull through the loop until you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and then pull through all 3 loops. And as you'll notice, that first stitch covered some of the tail ends, and we're going to repeat that until we get all the way to the end of the row. So we're going to push our hook through the stitch, make sure that our tail ends are on top of the crochet hook. And as you can see, I'm using my back fingers just to secure it in place. And then you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop again, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And we're just going to continue doing that until we get all the way to the end of the row. So we're going to push through. You'll notice this tail end has gotten really short. I still try my best to just pull it forward, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through all 3. And then we're going to repeat that until we get all the way to the end. So we're going to push through. We are going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and then pull through all 3 loops. And then we're going to repeat that. So you'll notice now we've only got the pink tail end. The green has been completely camouflaged, completely hidden. And we are going to place 1 more stitch in the last row, again making sure that we pull that tail end forward, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and then pull through. And there you go. You've just successfully joined new yarn and successfully hidden the tail ends. So that's how you can join new yarn using the knot method. And now I'm going to show you how you can join new yarn without having to knot the 2 tail ends together. So with the second method, now we're going to join the yarn without tying the tail ends together in a knot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get the new working yarn, and I'm just going to create a loop on my fingers, and I am then going to place that loop on my crochet hook. So at the end of your row, you are going to chain 1, and then you are going to turn your work to begin working on the next row. Now this can be a bit fiddly, so take your time. Now you're going to notice that you're going to have a tail end from the new yarn, and you're also going to have, let me just find it, the tail end from the previous working yarn. So once you've got the new yarn looped, you're going to yarn over. Now before we place the crochet hook in the first stitch, we're going to need to pull those 2 yarn tails forward. So make sure that you are holding onto both yarn tails, and then we are going to place our crochet hook in the first stitch. So if we place it in the first stitch like so, we're going to make sure that the yarn tails are sitting on top of the crochet hook. We're going to yarn over, we're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. And then you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. So again, make sure that you're holding the 2 yarn tails. Place your crochet hook through the next stitch. Make sure the tails are sitting on top of the crochet hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then we're just going to repeat that until we get to the end of the row. So again, place your crochet hook through the next stitch. Yarn over again, and then pull up a loop. And as you'll notice, each time you stitch, it covers the tails, so it hides the tails nicely in between your stitches. And we're going to repeat that until we get all the way to the end. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through all 3 loops. And then we've just got one more stitch to do. I'm just going to place it through the last stitch. Make sure the tail ends are sitting on top of your crochet hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and then pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you can join a new ball of yarn without having to knot the 2 tail ends together. So have a play around, see whichever method works best for you. It's down to preference. Some prefer the knot method, some prefer just using the tail end. I think if you want your work to look a bit more cleaner and not have as many knots in it, I probably would opt for this method instead. But again, just go with whichever one feels best suited to you. So those are the 2 methods of how to join new yarn. And now I'm going to show you how to change colors. So we are already using the pink yarn, so I'm going to continue crocheting with the pink yarn. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to place my hook in the first stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then I'm going to repeat that one more time. So yarn over, place your crochet hook in the next stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and then pull through all 3 loops. Now that we've done 2 stitches in the pink color, we now want to change the yarn color to a new one. So using the exact same method as before, I am going to cut this yarn here. And I always recommend when you're cutting, always make sure that you leave a good amount of the yarn tail, because if you make it too short, it's going to unravel and it's not going to be as secure when you're crocheting and hiding the tails between your stitches. So always leave, I would say, at least an inch or 2 inch and a half maybe of a yarn tail. And now to join a new color, I am going to take this green yarn, and I'm going to use the exact same method as I did before. So I am going to loop this yarn onto my crochet hook like so, and I am going to place my crochet hook through the next stitch. And this is going to be fiddly, but I'm going to pull the working yarn. So we are going to yarn over and pull this through until, as you can see here, we've got 3 stitches on the hook. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches. Now you're going to notice that you're going to have tail ends again. So you're going to want to make sure that the tail end for the green yarn is facing in the direction that you're working. And again, I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to place my crochet hook in the next stitch. Make sure that your tail ends are sitting on top of the crochet hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and then pull through all 3 stitches. And then we're just going to repeat that in the last final stitch. So we're going to place our crochet hook in the last stitch here. I'm going to push that through, make sure that your tail ends are sitting on top, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you can successfully join a new color when you are working. Now that wraps up today's lesson. I really hope that you now feel a lot more confident with knowing how to join your yarn together when you're working and feel a bit more confident with joining a new color. Like I always say, practice makes perfect. So now that you've learned the technique, please do practice until you feel super confident with it. And the next lesson, it is going to be the final lesson of the beginner series, and we will be exploring how different stitches can be used in different types of crochet projects. So thank you for stitching with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And that wraps up today's lesson. Thank you so much for stitching with me. If you enjoyed today's lesson and you want to continue learning with Stitch and Stillness, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Always remember to take your time, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next stitch. Bye.